It's time for your board game dessert, folks. It's game pie time. Game pie is, of course, when Mandy and I serve up a selection of games curated by our whims and our excellent taste because we hate ranking things and we love baked goods. The pie of today is full of, I don't know, Mandy, this doesn't sound like a very yummy pie, full of Game Night Icks. Yucks. Yucky yucks. Game pie night. Game night. Game pie yucks. This was Mandy's game pie idea, but it was kind of fun as we started chatting about it beforehand about all the little annoyances and bothersome things that can happen at game night. Of course, there are a lot of them, but we limited it to our usual 3 point and a bit.
Right, exactly. And that's not to say that maybe I do a game ick,
Oh, for sure.
that I
Yeah.
didn't know about. So this is not to, pinpoint a specific person. These are just things for us that are like, ugh.
Or is it?
Yeah, exactly. That we've potentially seen maybe at a convention or something. Or hey, maybe Suzanne was doing it and I just, didn't tell her. I'm just kidding.
All right, Mandy, serve up pie before we start fighting.
All right. Okay, I'm getting to my first one. So my first game night ick. Yeah, this one burns me a little bit. Playing with components or pieces, especially cardboard ones, with sweaty hands. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to be that person, but I'm like, yeah, can you not play with the pieces? Especially when I could see the sweat glistening on your hands, and then you see the cardboard of whatever component piece you're playing with is splitting because the person's like, rolling around their fingers. I don't know where your fingers have been. Why are you sweating? Are you cheating? Like, I don't know what is going on. Please put the piece down before you handle it. It's just being handled aggressively and with sweat. That can't be good for anyone or anything. So,
What?
playing
Why
with
are your
pieces with
friends
sweaty
so
hands.
sweaty? Wow. All right. All right. My first slice of game night ick pies. And, this is a big one to me. And unfortunately, Mandy, sometimes I know I do it too.
Oh,
So
me too.
definitely looking at the person in the mirror here.
Oh, me too.
Interrupting the teach.
Yeah.
When you are at a game night and somebody is teaching a game, let them teach the game. And if you have questions, it's one thing, but if you also I so often, if somebody else at the table knows how to play the game or has read the rule book or watched a video, oh well, you can also do this or you can also do that or don't forget this and things like that. And it's like, you know what? Let them teach.
Right.
You can add things in at the end, but let the teacher teach. Don't
Right.
interrupt the teach if with your own attempt to co-teach.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm sure many people are
Oh,
guilty
I've
of
been
this.
guilty.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So, we own up to it too. All right. The next one is, well, this is just a Mandy ick, I think.
Yes, it is.
I rule books on the top of the game after it's been packed. I don't like to see a bent wibbly wobbly rule book on top of all the pieces. Put it at the bottom. It's supposed to be flat. And you know how many times I've lent out games and it comes back with the rules like bent because they were stuck in the cover of the game? That wouldn't have happened if you put it on the bottom with the most, with the board, the most flat part of the box. So yeah, rule books on the top after packing. That is an ick for me. I'm sorry.
It is, and it's a well-known one for anybody who knows you. And boy, Mandy, I gotta say, I know I'm a bad person because I love aggravating you by putting
Oh
my
my
rule
god.
books on top of my game. I'm sorry, it's so fun. And here's another very, very personal ick. Many people don't mind this at all, clearly, because many people do it and it drives me bananas. And that's after you've set up the game, you take the box bottom and you put it in the box lid and you nest them while you're playing the game.
Yeah, that's
I
rough.
don't know why, but it drives me bonkers. First of all, I usually put the game lid up so I can see the game art and just have a visual of what game we're playing, and it's often pretty and things like that. And two, I don't like then after when you gotta like pull the box out bottom out of the lid and you're like sometimes it gets like the air suction makes it hard to pull back out and things
Yeah.
like for whatever reason, I do not like it when you put the box bottom in the lid while you're playing the game. Very personal, I know, but that's
No,
my second slice of board game ick pie.
that is a turn off for me as well, especially when I have nails and I'm trying to, like, now
Ah,
get the
same.
box out of it, and you're, like, trying to shake it, and you do some weird, like, to try and get it out. No one looks cute doing that, me included. Alright, the next slice of pie, game night icks, and I think a lot of people can relate to this. I
Yeah.
have never done this, I'm telling you right now. Eating messy food, and I put hot Cheetos. I've never had hot Cheetos, but it sounds like something that's messy when playing. So eating messy food while you're playing, and then touching the stuffs, especially when it's not your game. Like, if you wanna do that to your game, that's your business. I still think it's gross because other people have to touch the components as well, but maybe save that for after, just a little break. So yeah, eating messy food and touching all the bits. Not a fan. Ugh.
Yeah, I usually have snacks at game nights,
Sure.
but they're a little strategically selected to be like pretzels and things
Exactly.
without orange
Residue.
powder on them. Yeah.
Orange residue. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a big one for me, and it is banging or bending cards. A lot of people fiddle, a lot of people have, they need to fiddle, and that's
Sure.
fine. A lot of people like will stack their wooden
Mhm.
components or things like that. All that's fine. But sometimes you get a player who takes their hand of cards and is like flicking them, or they're banging them on the table or rubbing them on the table, just as like a twitch kind of thing, which I partly understand. But stop doing that to my cards. Ugh. I don't mind like regular riffle shuffling
Sure.
is fine, but the people who like constant and magic players are horrible. Like magic players have this like flicking thing that they do, and besides it being a little like auditorially and like
Yeah.
distracting,
Right.
it's just stop damaging my cards, please, please. So banging or bending cards is a big ick for me.
Yeah. I haven't experienced too much of the banging, but definitely the bending. Like you said, riffle shuffle is good. But when you're doing like the whole like, high McDonald's arches kind of shuffle, we're not here for that. My last slice of game night ick pie. Touching players' pieces. I know that sounds
Oh,
all
like
kind of
other players' pieces?
other players' pieces. Yeah, that sounds all kind of wrong in any context. But yes, if it's not your piece and someone has not consented to you touching their pieces, don't touch it. It's
Yeah,
like
that's a good one.
that's a space, that's like these are my area, my spaces. If you're gonna do that, just saying like, can I show you something? Fine. But overall, ugh, don't touch other players' pieces. Not cool. In my
Uh,
opinion. In my opinion.
no, I think that's a pretty objective one, Mandy. That's a good one to call out.
Yeah.
And finally, a game night ick. Folks, games are communal activities. We're all here together, whether we were competing or not. Help clean up the game.
Oh yes.
Help clean up the game. Don't walk away. Oh, I gotta go get a drink, or oh, I gotta oh, it's late. I gotta run. I mean, that happens once in a while. I get it, but
Sure.
really, I actually understand not helping with setup sometimes, especially if you don't know how to
Yeah.
play the
If you're
game,
learning.
then you
Yeah.
don't know what to do. Like, so setup to me is actually a different bag. But cleaning up, at least gather up your pieces and put them in a little pile, and fold up your player board or stack up your cards and give the cards back into little neat piles or things like that. Help clean up the game for a variety of reasons. If nothing else, the more people that help clean up the game, the sooner you can play your next game.
Exactly. This one is a big one, and I've definitely the teacher comes out when I start singing the clean up, everybody do their share.
Exactly, exactly. Oh, Mandy, you don't sing as much as you used to in the podcast, Mandy.
I know I've been
Hmm.
slacking, so you know what? I gotta pick it up. I just haven't been. I don't know what it is. I gotta get back into that musical state. You're right. I do miss the singing.
All right, folks. We've done our rule book peeves, and now we've done our game night icks, and I know that we've got one more like game peeves kind of game pie planned in
Right.
the future as well. And I know that a lot of you have game night icks as well. Would love to hear them, and because we're going to be doing a Q&A soon,
Yes.
please feel free to email us any questions you have. I mean, about game recommendations, game night icks, game night etiquette, what it takes to publish a game, right? There's a lot
Yeah.
of discussions about Kickstarters, like with Mythic Games. There's been a huge counterfeit controversy
Yeah.
recently with counterfeit board games, all that kind of stuff. So send in your questions and we will have a fun Q&A session next episode. You can reach us at saltandsassgames@gmail.com, or of course on the Board Game Geek Guild 4131 on boardgamegeek.com. Or Mandi, I hear that we have some social media accounts as well.
Look at that. The socials, we do. So possibly you're watching on one of these platforms right now. So you can find us at Salt and Sass Games on Twitch and YouTube. You can also find us on the Twitter. That's right. I said the Twitter at Salt and Sass Games. So Salt and Sass Games. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, all the things at 613 Mandi. That's Mandi with an I. And how about you, Suzanne?
And you can find me on all those platforms and more at 425 Suzanne. But I want to, of course, say thank you all for joining us for another Salt and Sass. It is always a pleasure and privilege to be podcasting with you and to just have this really fun, expanded, extended gaming family that you are part of. And it's amazing. And coming up next episode, we'll have that Q&A and all sorts of more games. Mandi, we'll have to look at when we're going to record because I think it kind of runs over the Game On Con I'm going to be at, so we'll have to figure
Oh,
that out.
yeah. Okay. No, good point.
If I see some of you locals at Game On, looking forward to that. But until next episode, I hope that you stay hydrated and play a lot of games. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody. This episode was sponsored by Druid City Games, where player experience comes first. Check out all of their great games at druidcitygames.com.